Isn't it?
Snarky's Dungeon.
It's
New title of the.
got an awesome ring.
Yeah.
It
So
does.
today we're talking about wrath, 7 deadly sins. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Women of
Hi.
deconversion.
Hello.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Howdy.
So yeah. So if you haven't seen us before, we're here. We talk about how sad we are that we left the Christian faith.
So sad. We just cry and cry.
Yeah, we just spend the whole hour just crying.
Now that we're atheists, we'll never be happy.
That's right. We have no morals.
Comforts us. It's okay, guys. It's not so bad.
Oh, we do.
But so last month, it goes so fast. We talked about pride, because we're going through the 7 deadly sins. None of us are Catholic or were Catholic, so it's just a theme that we want to talk about. So this week we're talking about wrath. When I looked up wrath as one of the 7 deadly sins, it was specifically vindictive anger, but we can talk about all types of anger because who doesn't want to be angry? Right?
I'm getting angry right now. I'm working my way up to it. I'm just trying to think about something.
Yeah, nice.
I have to look at Twitter for 5 minutes. That'll do it.
It's bubbles. Oh yeah, no joke.
Every
Not even Facebook will make me angrier than Twitter.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm just like, oh, new baby. Ah,
God, I hate that.
really, you're getting married again? Like, rah. Not really, no. Although I have realized that, like, no, this is gonna a dumb aside. I'm sorry, everybody, ahead of time, but that like I'm caring less about. I used to like love seeing like, oh, cute baby, and now it's like, oh, look, another baby, another person in the world. Very nice, cool.
I don't know who you're hanging out with, but my friends don't spawn that much.
Oh yeah,
I'm just saying.
no, it's so many new population problems. Just
I've been hitting the recent stage of like really finding babies adorable, like uncontrollably adorable. I don't know. It's really strange.
they're
like
cute. They're cute.
like well, like strange as in like it's I don't know. It's just more frequent now. Like I notice them a lot more. But it still hasn't like changed my non-wanting of children so far. You know, that's not something that I'm like really avid about or solid on. It's just like so far there's never been a point in my life where I'm like, this sounds amazing. So I'm just waiting on that. I feel like you should feel that way if you have kids. You should.
I have to admit, the idea of having children, I mean, like having a cat is enough responsibility for me. I wouldn't even want the responsibility that comes with having a dog, much less a child. Right? You're signing up for at least an 18-year hitch. Forget that. I mean, the best thing I love about my friends' kids, sure, they're cute, and then you can give them back.
Exactly. Yes.
I like
them
taking
for a
my
while
back.
and then giving them back.
Yeah, I like taking mine back.
I mean, if I ever end up with somebody who already has children, okay, fine. But I'm not going to have any of my own. Thank you very much indeed.
Nice.
I had
Nice.
one. I'm content with that. One is perfect for me because I can give him the exact amount of attention that I want to be able to give him and focus and still focus on things in my life. But I would never change that for anything in a million years.
Yeah. If you want to experience guttural anger, though, have a child.
Yep. Definitely.
And
at other children too. I've never been so angry at a 6-year-old. Not mine, other kids. The first time he came home crying, I was like, now I want to kill a small child.
Yeah, it's a new feeling.
Something I need to gain control of. I want to kick a 6-year-old in the face right now. I need to figure out how to deal with that.
I imagine it's the same feeling as if someone kicks your cat, though.
Oh,
Pretty similar.
Yeah. Someone
Rage.
kicks my Columbia for any reason other than an accident, and we're going to have words.
Yes, well, you should. As well, you should.
Yeah.
But then again, Columbia seems to love getting punted. I mean, she will race out from behind me where I can't see her. My foot is already in motion and she will dive in front of it. And I'm like, what are you doing? I couldn't have prevented that. Kitty.
Just trying to rub ya. Not realizing.
So when I was thinking about anger, it's, because I've been really preparing for this show. Like really thinking about anger. I was thinking about the specifically vindictive anger, and I was like, is that now I haven't really come across the sin of anger much. So if any of you have in your past, like as a sin, it was bad to get angry, please let me know. Because I haven't really.
Oh, I have.
Really?
Right.
I mean, I've certainly been told be nice to the other kids by my parents, but it was never like, or you're going to hell. It might be, or you're going to your room, but there was no like sin quality to it.
So, Miss Snarky, did you experience it from like a sin perspective?
Yes, because I was raised in a fundamentalist household, and it was very much honor thy father and thy mother, and if you hold wrath toward us, then you're committing a sin. Even though right after the honor your father and thy mother, basically it says, don't provoke your kids to anger.
Right.
Which happened a lot. So yeah, I was a very angry kid. I think for the most part it was justified. So.
Interesting. And you were made to feel guilt for being angry?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So you were you not able to walk through why you were angry and find a healthy resolution? Like, were you just kind of forced to stifle it, or not represent an outward indication of anger and just have to suppress it?
Yeah, I had to suppress it because if I didn't, then it was a lashing.
Wow.
To put it lightly, yeah.
That's not helpful.
No, it was not. So, yeah.
So what did you do? What did you do to cope? Pray?
No, I would basically I would go in the woods and like beat up a tree.
Oh,
and,
yeah. Trees deserve it. Most of them.
It wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't a tree hugger. I was a tree puncher, and it was not my hand. But,
that sounds painful to me.
It was
okay.
It was less painful than what I was experiencing from my parents, but yeah, lots of anger, and of course it was sinful. Even though I couldn't help it, but I had a choice, right? So, yeah, fun times.
Interesting. You had a choice aspect is interesting to me, because we don't really have a choice in the emotions that are elicited from the things that happen to us. We have a choice, I suppose, to a certain degree as we mature and how we deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a skill that one hones. It's not something that is innate.
Right. And it's especially difficult to kind of develop that skill when you're taught that, well, anger is, just this horrible thing that you should just not have, even though your role models, the people that you mirror and are expressing anger all the time. So, yeah, it was difficult to come to. I had to do a lot of therapy and philosophical reading and stuff like that to kind of learn to deal with it. I had to teach myself.
Wow. And at the formidable stage when most people are learning those coping mechanisms, you were suppressed from being able to have that opportunity.
Yeah, and then my mom would go, "Why are you so angry?" I'm like, "Are you serious? Are you serious? Like, you were there, you witnessed all the stuff we went through, and you're asking me why I'm so angry." Okay. So
Denial. Some people can recreate a narrative in their head so that they're able to cope with their decisions in those instances.
Yeah, the strength of people's denial never ceases to amaze me. Never. So
strong. It's definitely strong.
I don't believe in denial.
You don't?
No, she denies it.
Yeah.
Kate, you're so sharp. Sometimes I'm like, what? And I'm so black and white. I'm gonna look so daft so often when you say things. Like,
well, you should hear the constant contradictions going on in my head. Some of them I say, some of them I don't. I try to only say them when they're funny.
Well, it wouldn't be funny to anybody who's not as dumb as me. Everybody else understood your joke. I was like, what? What do you mean? Dumbass.
Oh, you're tired. Give yourself.
I am tired. It's no excuse for stupidity.
No, but that's real though. That tired. I think it's the summer, the end of the summer,
and the heat.
Something. And the heat. Yeah.
It's so humid here right now. Like I'm dying. I'm just utterly wiped out. Like you can't fit enough in a day, and I feel like I'm trudging through the air. Like I'm swimming through the air today. It's
air lessons. You need airing lessons. I've got it.
That's exactly right. Exactly right.
I had like a nap for about an hour and a half before this, but that's because I've been exercising my ass off. So yeah.
Nice.
Also the kitty here loves to wake me up at the ass crack of dawn, so I don't get as much sleep as I'd like.
Oh, they are like kids. It's very similar. Very similar. Mom, I'm hungry. It's 5 a.m. Yeah, but I'm still hungry.
That didn't change anything. Maybe I'm more hungry now.
It doesn't happen, yes.
Apologia mentioned that in the Old Testament, being angry at someone is equated to wanting to murder them or murdering them.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
That's New Testament.
Oh, did he say New Testament?
Oh, yeah. Is it Matthew 5:22?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, my bad. New Testament. Yeah. I read that, wrong.
Well, I mean, the
old and new are like almost spelled the same.
Right?
But
old and N are really close together. Go ahead.
The Bible's always saying stuff like how you committed sin in your heart. And so I understand like angry feelings or being angry at God or not believing or whatever's in your head. I can understand why they'd try to say that. I mean, it's so much mind control, isn't it?
It's so funny because it's like, okay, so my dad cheated on my mom, and when my mom confronted him with it, he was like, well, you committed spiritual adultery on me. It's just like...
What is spiritual adultery?
It's not a thing.
It's imaginary.
It's just like this, well, you're angry at somebody, so you must be murdering them. It's ridiculous. The worldview and the reasoning.
I mean, great.
I guess.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I guess that what you were kind of your parents' religious views were sort of like the spiritual superiority of your father, and so I guess the logic is that if your mother no longer believed in the divinity of your father, then that would be violating that belief system, I guess. Is that
maybe.
Kind of
maybe
what would have? Yeah.
I'm sure when he said that he was thinking rationally.
He wasn't just arm flailing. Yeah. That wasn't a Hail Mary.
He was very renowned for his rationality.
Yeah, that sounds like it. I find it difficult to reconcile myself with anything that is a sin that you don't have individual control over. Like you don't have control over the emotions that are produced within your mind based on any situation that you're in. Like I said earlier, you have a certain degree of control over how you choose to act in regards to the emotions that surface. But that comes with, honing of skills and self-reflection and introspection. So just the fact that they emerge being a sin, that constitutes a dangerous precedent from a psychological perspective, to my mind, because you don't have control over it. So how can you, begs the question, how can you sin how can it be a sin if it's something that you're not making a choice to do? If you have no control over it.
Yeah. And then the immediate guilt after, just like bang, like, oh crap. I was angry for one brain second,
I thought about that.
I think that it kind of ties into this whole authoritarian thing. You can't be angry with or question the authority. So you could be angry with, somebody that is outside in the out group. That's fine. But if you're angry with somebody in the in group, then it's a sin and you might as well have murdered them.
Well, that's a righteous anger. Is there a differentiation between the two?
Oh, there is. Jesus was righteously angry, so there's got to be, right?
Whatever it is, you see through your God glasses.
If you throw tables at a flea market because of the Sadducees and the Pharisees, then it's okay. Any anger is fine as long as you're throwing tables. That's right. Right?
And it's in God. If it has to be in God's house, it has to be in God's house.
Yes, I forgot. Yeah, no flea markets.
Make sure you call them a brood of vipers.
Vipers.
God does not have yard sales. Not God's thing.
Oh no!
Such a great name for a metal band.
God does not have yard sales. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. I'll take it. I hope somebody make a metal band called "God Does Not Have Yard Sales."
Or make it the God's yard sale would be even. A metal band that's just angry.
That sounds more indie rock to me.
That's true. Yeah.
So the Godless Iowan asked a question in chat. If you make things, or he actually made a statement, if you make things that cannot be prevented sinful, it keeps folks in the pews paying tithes and hoping for mercy.
Valid point.
Yeah.
If you construct a faith in such a way that almost anything that it's policing your thoughts, that even a thought that you have can be perceived as a strike against you in God's eyes, then you'll be in a perpetual state of fear of that judgment.
Yeah, and that's why we're all sinners.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Although
I think we talked about that in our last chat too. About the keeping a necessity based on just targeting human nature as bad and needing a connection.
A pattern in different cults too. They invent a problem and then here's a solution.
Exactly.
Yeah. So has anybody else had any wrathful experiences while they were faithful that had given them those guilt feelings? Did anybody ever act upon it? And is there, from a biblical or religious perspective, would you feel like there's a substantive difference between acting upon a wrathful thought and simply having the wrathful thought, or are they seen as the same?
I don't know. From my experience, again, I didn't really get my mom used to always say, "I'm mad at God," which was an interesting one.
She used to say that she was mad at God?
Yeah.
Or that you were?
She would. My mom's a little nuts, so I love
Fair
her.
enough.
A little bit. She used to yell at God, scream at him. Really? And they had some talks. He made my mom quite upset.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It was prayer for her would be
an argument
with God. Yeah, some of it. So so I don't think for me wrath was really a bad thing. Because if you could be mad at God, at least not anger, right? Wrath is different, but anger wasn't bad. It was really when you got into wanting to kill someone or being so angry that you were blind to any sort of coming back to it that was bad. So
you say wrath is different. Does that mean that wrath is acting upon anger in a vindictive manner? Can you think wrathful thoughts, or does it have to be? Do you have to?
Oh, I think you can think wrathful. I mean, I do think wrath is. I don't think you have to act out. From what I've read, the little bit that I've Googled over the past couple of weeks, it seems like it's an action in and of itself to have wrath, to be that angry. It doesn't need any backup, but it's still, if someone took your car or your dolly and you wanted to basically make them pay. That was the idea
Okay.
behind wrath. You're so angry you wanted to make them pay, kind of.
So it's wanting vindication or justice.
Like revenge.
An eye for an eye. Weird.
I thought about this in terms of like rape, you know, and in terms of like what's going on with the Catholic Church right now.
Yeah.
And like, are they, so if you want to maintain your piety in the Catholic Church, but you're one of these people who've been abused and taken advantage of, are you allowed to be vindictively angry at these authority figures? Now, I'm not the type of person who will say all Catholics are bad because of this, but it is a serious problem. So anyway, so are they allowed to feel anger? Like, is that, it should be, I mean, in the secular world, at least for me, I would be like, no, be angry, you know, embrace that. Something I've been thinking about.
Well, I mean, I've what you were talking about, how wrath is making them want to pay, which is like going, I guess, beyond justice and into punishment.
Sure.
If you see the difference. Well, I mean, I have to say, in a way, I think that then being wrathful can be a good thing. Just because it's like, okay, we've gotten our justice. Now here is letting you know how much worse it can get if you do it again. Never do it again. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been in that sort of situation where I wanted to not just get that justice, but to humiliate whoever it was that had hurt me.
Yeah.
Where it was like, okay, you're never doing that crap again. And here's like how I'm letting you know you're never going to do it again, because you'll get more of the same. But at the same time, I realize it's kind of being an asshole. So I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like there's a certain degree of desire for retribution, like the mental exercise of the desire for retribution, you know, fantasizing about somebody else feeling the same type of pain as you. Going through that mental exercise can be unhealthy if taken to an extreme, but can also be a cathartic activity,
right?
Depending on how it's guided. If you're guiding somebody through that activity and allow them to have their sense of empathy emerge towards the person who has caused them to be victimized, you can help them get to a better place with forgiveness for their own sake, not for the sake of the person that's caused them this pain. So that those mental exercises can be beneficial from a psychological perspective when working through traumatic situations. So I would think that stifling those or making people feel guilty for the natural emergence of those is in most cases a form of victimizing them again, because then they're not even allowed to feel their own feelings about what happened to them in the way that they emerge naturally. Guiding them through it so that they don't have to constantly be wrathful is a healthy choice. But saying that they shouldn't and then cutting it off there and that they have control over it and they should just exercise that control is not only false, it's damaging.
That's very
what you were saying about empathy. I mean, there is very little that will get rid of my wrath faster than someone who has hurt me or pissed me off or something, going, okay, yeah, I get it. I get where I stepped on your toes. I probably shouldn't have done it, and I'm sorry. That makes me go, oh, well, now I can stop being pissed off myself too. It's just easier. But a lot of people, when you get angry at them, they double down, they dig in their heels, and that just makes things worse.
Yeah, no, I could agree with that. Absolutely. Like in an individual, personal, one-on-one interaction, if you have the liberty of continuing to engage in the person that you're wrathful against, and they continue to escalate and just, stick in their heels, then continuing that wrath for you wouldn't be beneficial. It's almost better to just, get out what you need to say to them and then just kind of let them go. Because it's obviously not a healthy relationship that you're perpetuating. So I guess that's fair, but I feel like I maybe was talking about a different circumstances, but I didn't clarify well enough the type of circumstance that I was talking about. So thank you for helping me elucidate that a little bit, Kate.
I do think, Shannon, to further what you were saying, it's the same along the lines of you have to let people sort of explore those feelings. You can't help those feelings sometimes. And this is something you were, tying to what you were saying before about how it seems so wrong to tell someone that they can't feel something when emotions are so tied to our hormones, our biology. And just saying, no, your thoughts are going a certain direction, your biology is going a certain direction. If you think vindictive thoughts, yes, let's address them, accept them, and see how we can move forward from them. And then you're right. I think that you can find some healing there. Of course, you can spiral into darkness and become a serial killer if that's the direction. But that's what by accepting those sins, right? By accepting that wrath first, we're able to bring people back, as opposed to, definitely not a good idea to validate that, in at least in terms of, yeah, that's a good idea.
Just be mad all the time.
Yeah. But
everyone.
I think that the idea that of wrath being a bad thing, I'm not sure, like, scripturally how extreme that goes. We've kind of been talking about it, but just in ways that it can be used as a way to kind of control the masses. I think that's a very powerful thing of keeping people from feeling like they can be angry about things that are happening to them, and the kind of power struggles and circumstances that come with stuff like organized religion. And, you kind of see that with stuff like the caste system, where people feel like they deserve where they are and that they will one day be in a better place, as a justification for not trying to make their own lives better within their own lives. And so, Greta Christina has her book, Why Are You Atheists So Angry? And it sort of goes through 99 things that atheists have to legitimately be angry about, or at least her and many atheists have things like, what happened to Galileo, and female genital mutilation that happens in the name of religion, and things like that. So there's just a lot of things that happen because of these belief systems that it's almost not taken into account, because if there's a perfect world with a plan, with a God, then there's nothing to be angry about, because everything has a reason for the way that it happens, and it'll go against that sense that there's a benevolent plan.
Yeah, we're just sheep and he's the shepherd. So
Mhm.
we don't know what God's plan is. We're not smart enough, so we'll just accept it and just be docile and happy, and not ever validate my feelings. They're not valid.
And they won't matter, because I'm going to I'll be in a temporal plane later. This is all temporary. So
Yeah.
It's a placating force,
Right.
that allows people to just be placid in their current existence, which is a shame, because that's all you get.
Yeah, it's the ultimate gaslighting.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's also frustrating too, because you see, like, sure, no, we can't be angry, yet we should aim to be like God. And if there is not a more angry character in the Bible or religion, I don't know.
Amen, sister.
Yeah, the Old Testament God is pretty bonkers all the time. And the New Testament God killed his own kid because he was so pissed at us.
And invented. That's where hell came from, was the New Testament. So yay.
Yeah.
I have never been able to get a straight answer out of a Christian about why a death was necessary to wash away all that sin. Like, I've never gotten a straight answer.
Blood magic. Best magic. Human blood magic is ultimate blood magic. Thus, magic. Because God needs magic.
Yeah, I'd be curious what an apologist has to say about it, because the average follower, their pastors and ministers and people aren't going to touch that subject. It's not really something worth talking about like, why does God have it this way rather than another way? But when apologists Christian apologists are defending their religion, I'm sure they might probably have an answer for that. I'd be curious.
It's probably a disgusting one, but
for sure.
Well, I mean, okay, maybe this is slightly off topic. I'm not sure, but you know the whole thing with Abraham and Isaac, where he's about to like kill his own kid, and then all of a sudden God's like, "Oh, just kidding. I didn't really want you to do that." I would have been pissed at God. I would have been fucking angry, and people don't really think he would be. I guess I don't get it.
God's a troll. He's like,
Yeah.
kill him. Psych!
Try being Jephthah. God didn't pop out. God just let him kill his daughter.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, the women don't matter.
Well, yeah, that's true. She wasn't probably a real person because she was female, but yeah. But yeah, Jephthah, God was fine with that. Jephthah made a pact. I would like to kill all these people, please. And God was like, well, if you do that, you have to kill the first thing that comes out of your door when you get home. And he was like, sure, whatever. And then he got home and he was like, shit, my daughter walked out the door. God, you still want me to do it? And God was like, goddamn right I do. I told you. He was like, can I mourn my virginity? And God and Jephthah were like, okay, I guess you can mourn your virginity, but come back. And then she came back, and God didn't stop it. Jephthah killed her. The end. Moral of the story is, I guess, don't make pact with God, or you have to kill your kids.
Read the fine print.
Yeah.
God sounds like
lock your doors.
Make sure that the dog always runs out first.
Buy a new house.
Your daughters. That's what the moral is.
Kill your
better
lawyer.
Daughters.
Don't let your daughter outside.
That's lovely.
So many good lessons.
Right? We all learned a lot today. This is really good. Good Bible study, everybody.
This is very clear, nice moral teaching.
Yeah, I'm glad that I can get my morals from the Bible.
Me too.
I must say I'm not an angry atheist, I don't think. I do see the, sometimes I get mad at my Twitter feed. We were just talking about it. Because I'm like, why is everybody so, and not in the vindictive way, in the wrathful way, I find this a lot. Yeah, sure, there's a reason to be angry, because of your indoctrination, the lack of education that you received, blah blah blah. There's a lot. Right. But I find people trying to like bite back to Christians, and not necessarily aimed at the religion. It's specifically at people who believe it, and that is
ridiculous,
disheartening. Yeah.
I have to admit that God's fan club is my least favorite part of religion. But like, I don't really care about what their primitive fantasy novel says. It's what people take that as an excuse to do to other people. That's where I start to get grouchy with religious folks.
I get pretty damn grouchy too.
Yeah, I say to my videos all the time, if they can learn to share and play nice with the other kids, I'm not making videos anymore. My channel will go back to being about animation. But they do keep using the Bible as an excuse to be royal dicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing that, like, when I try not to get too vindictive, but when somebody tells me that I was abused by my parents because I'm an asshole and that they weren't really Christians, that tends to piss me off.
Yeah, that's
I flew a couple of fucks that direction.
Yeah, I mean, you were never Christian or they weren't Christian. That's one of my least favorite arguments.
Like, isn't that fun?
Right.
So fun. No truth.
Well, it's like being told I'm an atheist because I'm angry at God. Newsflash, genius. I was raised not religious, so how am I angry at someone who never really affected my life that much?
And you don't believe existed or exists currently or ever existed at all.
And again, I'm angry at his fan club. I don't give a rat's ass about God.
Yeah,
some of them are very vitriolic.
Yeah, some people can be, like, very much so. I think one of the things that I fight against the most, the crap apologetics that, and the misrepresentation of what an atheist is what infuriates me the most.
Yeah.
Well, atheists believe this. Because you're an atheist, you must be some sort of nihilist and nothing has any meaning. And blah, blah, blah. I'm like, how about we have a conversation and then you can ask me questions and I'll tell you what my positions are on things rather than you just blurting out what I'm at. Because I'm respecting you in this conversation and not assuming anything about your position just because you presented as a Christian, because I recognize that there's a myriad of Christians who believe a myriad of things, because most of them haven't read the book. Don't take it literally. Or interpret it however the fuck. So how will you give me the same respect? That's the type of thing that I fight against, because there's such a perception, a misconception about what an atheist is, and most of it's not good, because I think we present a threat.
Well, I mean, I have to admit, not much will make me unlock the swear box faster than being told what I believe. Whether it's because I'm an atheist or because I'm, I don't know what else, a fan of this, that, or other show or whatever. And people going, well, you have to think this, you have to think that. I'm like, fuck off. You don't know my mind. It's like, I'm not going to tell you what you believe. I'm going to tell you what I think you believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that means I'm open to hearing your position. So many of them are like, nah, you have to believe this. I'm like, well, gee, thanks for telling me that.
Yeah, in your worldview, right? But back to kind of what Shannon was saying, the Pew research came out not too long ago, that atheists are the most mistrusted people, and even by other atheists. So this perception that we just want to sin, or we want to be immoral or whatever, it's a very dominant force right now. And I think that normalizing atheism, agnosticism, and stuff like that is very important.
Well, I mean, the idea that we just want to sin makes it sound like we've been, I don't know, like planning some big old party or something, some gigantic orgy, and that's all we want to do, and tag with religion because it's telling us no. And it's like, really?
That was my plan. I don't know about you.
I can't wait to go to the sin party.
We should organize one. I'm sure there's conventions for it.
Well, maybe if we get to the convention that Shannon, what's that convention that's every
Faithless
year?
Forum.
Yeah, Faithless Forum. Maybe we could have a panel. The sin
party panel.
The sin party panel.
They haven't set up the panels yet. Maybe they haven't set up the panels. So I'm not sure. I've put in a good word. I was talking to them the other day.
The sin party is the after party of Faithless Forum.
Well, the after party is another entity altogether. I think we should definitely. I hope you guys all come so that we can have an after party. I'll be there. I can't wait.
This year I'll probably have the cash for it. So
are you gonna come too, Bionic Dance? You're gonna come?
I think I will. When is it again?
Yay! It's gonna be in April, but we don't have a start date yet. But it's gonna be in April. The date should be announced probably sometime this month.
Is it in Dallas again?
Yeah, I believe so. Yes, I believe so.
It's beautiful in Texas that time of year too.
I've been to Austin, never Dallas.
I've never even been to the United States of America, so this will be a big trip for me. I have to get a passport.
That's funny. One thing I've noticed lately is a lot of the newer YouTube atheists all seem to be Canadian.
We're taking over.
Oh, apparently. Hey,
please take over.
There is nothing wrong with Canada that making it warmer and nuking Quebec won't fix. So
it's actually like 30 some degrees with the humidity right now at like almost 10 o'clock at night here. So I think it's already warm enough.
And for all of those people who use Fahrenheit, that's like 7.
All right,
80.
sorry.
It's like 80. Is that 80, 30?
I'm Canadians.
Yeah. I don't know. It's funny because like my last name is Farr, spelled much like Fahrenheit. So the automatic like letting me know that I have a doctor's appointment thing that calls me Kate Fahrenheit.
You confused it. It auto-completed for you. Well, I'm excited that you're coming. You'll have a lot of fun.
Well, I mean, I've been to a couple of American atheist conventions and Skepticon and stuff like that. If it's even remotely similar, I'm sure I'll enjoy it.
This is a lot more about kind of community building, and it's the only one that's run specifically by YouTube content creators, atheist YouTube content creators, and secular YouTube content creators. So that makes it unique, I think. And it's a lot about community building and communication and how to engage in conversations and, how to get involved in the community and how to get involved with one another and find places where you can have a community and start communities where you are. So it's really beneficial to people that are deconverting or have deconverted or want to become more active because they care about the issues. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. I can't wait.
Cool.
Yeah, when I went, the conference, the first one was really kind of had a great schedule pace. Like they really kind of filled everything with interesting things, and it was very well put together. It was put together really quickly, so it was very impressive. But so next year or this year, I guess, I don't know, might be a little different, but it was well run.
So jealous you got to go. It was too fast last year. Like the turnaround time, I was putting together the bios and I was having to be, and I couldn't even go. So I was like, I can't leave in like a month. I've got a kid.
Yeah, it was in my city, so.
Oh, you're lucky.
I was like, I'm going. Yes,
Nice.
Try and stop me.
Yeah.
Very cool. So nothing to be angry about there.
No, nothing. Yep. No wrath. Sorry, nothing vindictive to say.
Thin party. How we got there.
I know.
I don't want an angry party. I mean, it's okay, but I want an angry party.
It's not just going to be focused on one sin. We'll have all of the sins.
All of right. Yeah. Greed too.
Yeah. And pride. Gluttony. Hello. Gluttony party.
So much
lust above all. Lust.
If I'm going to be anywhere near a Whataburger, I'm glutting out. I'm definitely. It's been so long. I miss Whataburger.
I don't know what that is.
It's a
fast food like burger place.
Oh, okay.
It's really, really good.
Yes.
Mrs. Snarky, you're gonna make me go there soon.
I'm jealous. Can you email me some?
It's the spicy ketchup. It's just too good.
It is good. It's very good.
So then I'm just wondering, since Mrs. Snarky just showed us her gluttony, gluttonous, does anybody have any anger that they've been letting out recently? Have you sinned against God and against man?
Yes.
Amen. Yes.
Also yes.
Probably nothing I should be talking about, but yes.
Oh.
Are we pleading the fifth here?
Well, no, it's not that. I just don't want to reopen old wounds.
Old wounds. Yeah, that makes sense. That's fine. Recently, have you been mad?
That's what I mean.
Oh, nice.
Never mind. Never mind. I shouldn't even brought it up. Never mind.
Everything in me wants to know, but I'm not going to.
Oh, did you? Yeah, okay. I gotcha.
I'm gonna leave it be.
I'm there. I think I know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's people in the chat who definitely know what the fuck I mean, but don't get me started.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think the last couple of years, with political tensions being as high as they are, I think people have gotten pretty angry at what's happened and what people are saying online and disagreeing, and whatever side people are on. We're very angry at each other for disagreement. It's a common thing online lately.
If we would just have a break from all the drama politically, that would be great.
Yeah, I'm surprised that my dad's side of the family isn't flipping out, because they're hardcore Catholic, a lot of them Sicilian Catholics, and yet they're accepting the gays and lesbians in our family with the greatest dignity and just as calm as you can believe. And I'm surprised that they're not screaming for our blood. It's weird. I'm glad, but it's weird.
I'm glad too.
It's not. I think it's good. It's just nice to see. I think Courtney's right. It's exhausting. The political wrath, and it's real. It's like wrath. People are vindictive. It's not. There's no joke there about how angry people can get over letting other people have rights, certain rights. It's insane.
Oh, it's creepy. But also, there's a lot of anger to be had on behalf of human rights. There's a lot of anger about there being this question of should this human right be a thing? And it's yes, gosh, God damn it!
Seems like they have this preconceived notion of of what the world should be like,
hilarious.
and giving people certain rights will like destroy that world that they think should be. And it's like, okay, but it really won't. I mean, yeah, you'll have to grit your teeth every time you see someone doing something you don't like, but it's not going to impact you in any other way other than knowing it's happening. And yet, like you say, they're getting so rabid and screaming about it. And it's bizarre how angry people can get.
Yeah. There's something in the Bible that says, don't take it up an offense, you know, for someone else. And I wonder how that's, or even like, what does the Bible say about making laws or, you know, I mean, I think there are God's laws and there's the government laws, right? And that's pretty clear in the Bible. So I'm just sort of confused, like why it's not respected the other way. It gets fairly frustrating. And granted, I've had some good talks with people who are open and like, yeah, no, we voted wrong. Sucks, you know. But otherwise,
not a lot of people in my circles have said that. Still pretty avid. Which, you know, psychologically we can't blame them because once you've made a decision that you can't take back, you're going to have a certain level of acceptance of that decision. Yeah. But I've been watching rewatching Handmaid's Tale lately, and what makes me really angry and upset is the fact that all of the brutality that happens in that show is the author wrote all of that in her book based on real brutality that has happened at some point in history somewhere in the world. So it's just this horrifying brutality that I, you know, it's just really difficult to stomach in a show, let alone knowing that that really has happened to someone or multiple people at some point in history.
Yeah, that's a sin to be mad about. Yeah, be mad. You know, it's so mad. It's so angering that you're not supposed to be mad about this. You're supposed to temper your anger. Wait. wait a minute. Temper your but yeah, and I think that's a good anger. Definitely.
But what about the Jordan Peterson idea that we're supposed to be like agreeable, conscientious women?
Or chaos.
Yeah, we're just straight up chaos.
Yeah, Christine, I'm curious what that kind of scriptural thing that you were talking about was of not taking up offense
let me find
on others'
behalf.
Just because
something else, and then I'll find it.
Yeah. Just because, like, I find that I get more readily angry and upset when something's happening against another person than against myself. I kind of more readily come to the defense of others more quickly than I come to my own defense. Since like childhood, I think it's just a personality thing. But
I'm the same way.
I think I'd balance those myself. I don't know. I mean, I'll definitely get angry on behalf of other people and myself. I don't know if it's in equal proportions, but I'm not sure that there's that obvious shift to one side that you're describing, at least not for me.
Yeah, I remember just saying it when I was a kid. Like, I guess I noticed it a lot.
Oh, Kitty. Let me pay attention to me.
It's almost her feeding time. That's what that's about.
You're supposed to be giving me supper right now. So cute. Adorable.
Yeah, but she knows 6 p.m. That's when it happens. Not that she can tell time. That'd be awesome if she could. Man, we'd get on, well, not Letterman anymore, but one of those.
You know, Jimmy Fallon. I think he replaced him. I don't know. I'm too Canadian for this. For so many aspects of this conversation. I mean, like up here with my socialized medicine and my.
I haven't had regular television in literally at least a decade, and so I don't know who's replaced who on TV anymore.
Yeah, me either.
And I'm not even Canadian.
U.S. healthcare will make you angry.
Yeah. Well, actually, not me though. Like
No,
I'm,
just like
I
I
don't think,
mean, I've been beneficial too, but like I just mean like how it happens as a
Yeah.
system.
Health
to a lot of
insurance.
people.
Health
me
insurance companies
personally,
make me
though,
angry.
like I moved to California 2 years ago. And then when I started going to a new doctor because I wasn't in Seattle anymore, they told me that with the Californian healthcare that I was getting, like through the state, they could pay for the brain surgery I need to get rid of my epilepsy. Just like that's it, no cost to me whatsoever, except like cab
That's
fare to get to the
incredible.
hospital. And that surgery is going to cost like 300 grand, and they're just giving it to me, right?
Mm.
But the thing is, what that means is that it's actually weirdly beneficial to be poor, because I don't have a proper job. I'm probably making less than living wage. And if it weren't for the fact that I don't pay rent, I'd probably be out on the street. But so making less than minimum wage gets me free brain surgery, apparently.
Mm. So you're not one of those perpetuators of atheism that are in it for the money, right?
Illuminati shillbucks,
I'm
yeah.
not saying I wouldn't mind a few more Patreon patrons, hint, hint, nudge, nudge,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Yeah, people who say that, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, we make nothing. Honest to goodness, and it's like having a second full-time job. It's bananas to me. It's crazy. I don't understand.
Yeah, there's an interesting like scriptural argument that people make about the legitimacy of the scriptures of Jesus's story. Like, what reason would the witnesses have had to lie? And if you are using that logic, then everybody's accurate. It's not that some people are mistaken, honestly, or something like that. That I like that atheists aren't given that same consideration of like, what would we have to be lying about or hide?
Well, speaking of witnesses, you'd think that some people would have documented the zombie uprising that supposedly occurred after Jesus died. Yeah.
Depends on again.
I think it's in Matthew.
Oh, yeah.
The people came out of their graves and took over the city.
Maybe it made them angry and they weren't able to say anything, right? Oh dear. They would have been sinning.
Yep.
Well, and why, you should just, I'm sorry, I might have missed something, but I was looking up the offense and I actually can't find much. I found some that said maybe, but
did you see Paul's comment? He said, "Do you mean the lawsuit passage in 1 Corinthians 6?"
Oh, maybe. Let me look.
It helps having a boyfriend who's memorized the New Testament.
Yeah.
I have one of those.
Yeah, it's beneficial in these types of conversations. It's like, I've got the verse for that.
And they both have biblical names, Matthew and Paul.
That's right. Right.
It's first, did he say? I'll look at the scripture. Anyway, I'll find 1 Corinthians 6. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what I meant. I'll have to look at it. But anyway, I was gonna say, and plus we can always shoot back at them. Like, how much are their biggest preachers making? Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. Gosh.
Like,
right.
geez, like, who cares? Like, shut up. Seriously.
It's almost enough to make you want to start a religion, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a sad way to invalidate an argument. But they're trying to make sure that you have less credibility, so that people won't take what you're saying seriously, or that they don't have to address it themselves. And when people do that, I'm just like, I've immediately lost respect for you in this conversation.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
Well, and what Katie was saying, that's not obviously not unheard of too, of intentionally like being known to deceive people and then having it like starting a religion like Scientology or Mormonism. They're all, not all of them, but it's like that. Those specifically are started by people who are like, do you want to make a lot of money and manipulate? Do it. It's awful.
Yeah, known charlatans. Yes.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that he couldn't actually decipher those plates in that magic hat? Because I refuse to believe that. That sounds legit. That sounds legit. Those plates are out of the hat. There's no way he didn't magically wasn't able to translate them. It's just
well, and even if it wasn't as ridiculous as it is, right? this is also, somebody who's, as Mrs. Snarky was saying, known to have been a charlatan beforehand. So it's like, this is who this person is, and this is what they did with their lives, and I don't get it.
Yeah, there's a sucker born every minute, right?
Well, and the thing about that is, honestly, if you gave us some evidence, so many atheists would convert back to Christianity if we had any evidence or like real, it's like you don't understand. Like you're using your faith, your irrational, this feeling, or maybe it's beyond a feeling. Maybe it's you've just sort of figured out a way to make science work with it or whatever. I don't know how, but there are certain apologists that do try, and that's cool. But honestly, like we're like searching. We're constantly. If you gave us like some good stuff to look at, we would all convert back to Christianity. Well, most of us. If it was like we're not doing it for no reason. We're doing it because we don't believe it and we don't see a basis for what you're talking about.
Well, I would need a little bit more than evidence. I would have to have some questions answered first.
That's fair, but I'm talking about. I don't know.
If someone proved that a God is real, that if the Christian God is real, I'd believe, but I'd never be a Christian. I'd go looking for that magic ring or flaming sword that could kill that God, because he's not a nice guy. So yeah, I may be a believer. I'll never be a Christian.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. That's what I mean, though, believer. I don't, it's because I was contrasting. In essence, they like don't necessarily have the answers to the questions, and we're just questioning. Like you're really mad at us because we're asking the same questions you are, but we're on the other side of the fence.
Questions are sinful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what faith is for. You don't need questions when you have faith.
Yeah, because if you question God, I mean, who are you to question God?
An atheist.
Well, and that's the dirty word of doubt. It's the big dirty D word.
I think a lot of them don't even seem to understand that for a great deal of us, it wasn't a choice either. A lot of us tried we scratched and held on and tried and did the rationalization. And we're like, well, maybe if I look at it this way and maybe if I look at it that way, and fought and fought and fought. And eventually it slipped from us involuntarily. Like we didn't have a choice in the matter. We just had to be honest with ourselves and say, you know what, I think I'm done. Like it happened to us by virtue of just questioning.
Exactly. I think I have to be this group's control group simply because I was never religious.
Yeah.
And so like when you talk about how you really, really tried and all of that, all I can think of is, well, the force didn't work. Now I'm done. And so, I mean, I don't know. It's weird. Sometimes I'm not sure why I'm here. I don't know.
Need a control group, okay?
All right.
Give us a different perspective.
You said it. That's the reason.
Yeah.
Well, and there's so much weighing on us being able to keep the faith that we have, and it's different for different people. But sometimes it's community or just your emotional attachment to this faith and person and being that you thought was so real and affected your life. And change is scary in general. Self-identity changing is even scarier. So there's so many things that are warning you against seriously doubting belief systems like this. So it's amazing that any of us are here not believing in it. There's so many things, so many fail-safes in the religion to say, to perpetuate it and keep it going.
Yeah.
The identity portion of it, I think, was really at least the toughest for me, because I was just so indoctrinated, and everything had to do with God and what I was taught. And I don't know, it was so difficult for me to shed. Even when I thought I had shed it, I hadn't. I still had that going on in the background. And so it took me years to get over that. And I'm still dealing with it. Like, you don't ever get over indoctrination. You just learn how to deal with it and find a new normal.
It's the same. Yeah, I was thinking about this yesterday. I was like, maybe I still believe, because sometimes, I catch myself like for a job interview or something or whatever. I'm in a lot of them right now. I catch myself wanting to pray. And I know, it's not going to do anything, but that giving it up feeling is very appealing. It's really appealing, you know, but it's also wonderful to take the responsibility onto yourself and understand these are your, you know, there's a flip side, of course, because that's why I'm on the other, that's why I'm on the flip side. And, you know, yeah,
don't feel bad about that. I still catch myself praying. It's silly. It's ridiculous. I know better, but
yeah. How long have you guys been deconverted? How many years?
Well, from Christianity, since I was 15. I'm 35 now, or 36. Oh my God.
Yeah, 12 years for me.
But about a year and a half ago, I deconverted from kind of this spiritual but not religious bullshit. So, like I said, I was still hanging on to that identity, but not trying to distance myself from the religious aspects. So, yeah.
I think a lot of it depends on when you're honest with yourself about it too, because I would have told you I was spiritual but not religious, or non-denominational, and then agnostic, and then blah, blah, blah. It probably was in the past like 2 to 3 years that I would actually say I'm an atheist.
Nice.
Like, before that, I was super wishy-washy about for about probably 8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
Like from my 20s to my early 30s, I would. If you'd asked me, you couldn't pin me down on anything. I was all over the place.
I turned like going through the stages of grief, though, and that bargaining stage tends to last a long time.
Oh, I turned like lemon and milk.
Really? You just like
I curdled right away. I was like, oh, wait a second. I've been doing this for a long, like it was like boom. Because I went from, you know, trying to get other people to love Jesus to being like, wait a minute. Yeah, it was done really fast.
Wow.
Yeah, I was lucky. But I've been doubting my whole life.
I think that the more tightly it's wound too, like the more entrenched you are into the literalness of a faith, the easier it is for it all just to fly apart when there's a chink. Whereas I was an Anglican, and I was devout. I was super devout, but I realized that I'd had most of my idea of what the faith is dictated to me. So when it started to fall apart for me, I still had little rationalizations. And I opened the Bible and read it, and I was like, okay, that'll do.
Yeah, I remember when I left my faith, I was kind of questioning because of being hit with the fact that whatever I believe is because of where I was born. We talked about this in our very first broadcast with Women of Deconversion. Because backpacking through India, I was like really hit with it in a way that I hadn't been before in America. So I've been trying to figure out what exactly made me change from this idea of like a general higher power away from my specific denomination to the whole higher power concept falling through. And I don't really know where that happened, but it's interesting because not everybody does that. There's a lot of people that leave their specific religion and sort of go either really general and spiritual or go to a different religion, and they keep searching. And I kind of expected to do that when I first deconverted. But yeah, I don't know if it's a certain type of mentality or person who's able to let go of that in general. Because again, there's a lot of like psychological things tying us to those perspectives.
Definitely, yeah. Anyway, so we talked about wrath maybe like 20 minutes.
I know.
Who cares? It's all right. We don't relate to it. That's fine. I get it. We do in some ways. I mean, Mrs. Snarky has a hell of a lot to be mad about. I am going to take up an offense for her. As a matter of fact, I will do that, even though it's not in the Bible not to, so it's fine. Anyway, but yeah, so if anybody who listens to this wants to pitch in for what they want to hear us talk about next in our 7 deadly sins, we usually decide middle of the month, so feel free to tell us which one you'd like us to talk about. I'm pretty sure we're excited about lust, gluttony, and sloth. I'm really excited about those. Greed, not so much, but right, yeah. So yeah, if anybody has any closing remarks, shout them out.
Subscribe to my channel or you eat yellow snow.
Oh.
That's real.
Subscribe to my channel, but you eat whatever you want.
Oh no.
Feel free, yeah, and communists, we'll see you the first Monday in October. We'll see you here. Halloween month. I didn't celebrate Halloween
Can we
till
wear
like
costumes.
oh my god, maybe November. It would make more sense November 1st, right? So let's wear not. Oh yeah, we're gonna do costumes November 1st.
We just decided game time decision.
All right,
Drink
everybody.
my pumpkin
Yeah.
spice latte, and I'll be set.
All right, awesome.
It would have
Well,
been funny if we had like saved the Halloween episode for like Pride or something. Or depending on the costume lust.
Lust will be good. We can do that.
We can all dress up as a sin.
Sloth.
We can all-
Amazing.
Plus, eh?
Okay, call dibs.
Very nice. Very nice. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. And yeah, thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.
Have fun.